The galaxy watched. Billions of eyes from hundreds of worlds were locked onto one single scene streamed live from the Triarch transport vessel, the Pride of Valor. Inside its metallic chamber, rows of alien dignitaries sat in polished armor, robes, and uniforms. Their scales, feathers, and glowing eyes reflected the ship's cold lights at the center aisle. A lone figure stood out, a human woman in green military uniform. Her chest marked boldly with the word human, walked slowly down the corridor. Her boots echoed sharply against the metal floor. In her hand, she carried a single folded note plane, silent, ordinary in appearance. But nothing about this moment was ordinary, for the galaxy had long mocked humans. Many species said Earth was a failed death world, a place too violent to produce wisdom. They called humans reckless, emotional, and weak. Today, this belief was about to be tested. At the far end of the corridor stood Commander Valok of the Zell Dominion. His armor shimmered in deep green plates, his tall reptilian body towering above the others. His eyes glowed gold with arrogance. He raised one clawed hand, blocking the path of the human soldier. "Stop where you are," he hissed, his voice sharp as a blade. "This chamber is for leaders, for counselors, for the powerful. You are none of those." The crowd of aliens chuckled. A ripple of laughter spread, mocking. Many whispered to their companions, "Why is a human here? She has no right to stand among us. Earth is nothing. Their fleets are broken." The human woman did not respond. She simply held the note tighter, her calm gaze fixed on the commander. Commander Valok leaned forward, his teeth gleaming. "What is that in your hand? A letter? A threat? A plea for mercy?" He expected fear. He expected her to bow, to tremble. But she only looked at him, silent, steady, her eyes unflinching, in the silence. It was louder than any scream. The cameras zoomed in. Billions across the galaxy leaned closer to their screens. What could one slip of paper mean? Aliens debated in real time. Some mocked. "This is pathetic. Humans think words will save them." Others whispered uneasily, "Why does she not speak? Why is she not afraid?" Even the council members, seated in their high balconies, shifted nervously because everyone knew the truth. Humans did not carry things without purpose. Every action they took had weight. The note shook slightly in her hand, not from fear, but from the humming energy in the room. "Every alien I followed it, as if it were a weapon." Commander Valok sneered. "You think a scrap of paper changes your place? Humanity has no place here. You lost your wars. Your fleets are dust. You should bow before us." He gestured, and two alien guards stepped forward. Their weapons glowing, the human finally moved. Slowly, carefully, she raised the note higher. Gasps spread through the crowd. Some aliens stood from their seats, wings and tendrils twitching. What was written there? The guards hesitated. Their weapons, once steady, now trembled in their hands. The human's expression did not change. Her eyes remained calm, sharp, unyielding. She looked not at the commander, but at the entire chamber, as if the note was not for him alone, but for all of them. Every second stretched long. Like the calm before a storm, the cameras closed in on her face. She did not blink. Her lips pressed together, firm and unreadable. Billions of viewers felt the unease, the suspense. Something was wrong. Something was hidden. Even Commander Valok, though arrogant, felt the weight pressing on him. He growled, "Show it, if you dare," but she did not unfold the note. Not yet. Instead, she stepped forward, just one step closer. The guards flinched, as though an army had advanced. Across the stars, families, soldiers, and counselors watched with breathless anticipation. The human stood alone, one note in hand, facing the might of the Dominion. This was no ordinary human. This was no ordinary moment, for in her silence there was defiance. In her stillness there was power. Aliens began to whisper louder. What if it's a declaration? What if it's a warning? What if humanity still remembers? Fear crawled into the chamber like smoke. The ship's lights flickered once. Then again, a deep hum rolled through the chamber. Consoles blinked red dot. Commander Vaylock turned sharply, eyes narrowing. What is happening? The human soldier raised the note higher, the faintest hint of a knowing smile at the corner of her lips. The crowd froze, because in that single look, they all understood. The note was not just words. It was a message, a key, a signal. And as the ship trembled again, billions across the galaxy felt a chill. What had humanity hidden? What secret was about to be revealed? The feed cut to black. The broadcast resumed. Across the galaxy, trillions waited for answers. Alien homes, military bases, and council chambers replayed the frozen image. The human warrior standing tall, note raised high. Lights flickering around her. The silence after the blackout was worse than any explosion. On the Zell homeworld, merchants paused their trade to whisper, "What did the note say?" Did she threaten war? On the Ilar spires, students crowded holoscreens, their wings shivering. Why did the ship lose power? Was it human sabotage? In the council's private channels, panic spread like fire. Leaders demanded explanations, but none had them, for the first time in centuries. The galaxy looked at humanity not with mockery, but with fear. The transport ship's chamber glowed red as warning lights blinked. The alien guards aimed their weapons again, though their hands shook. Commander Vaylock roared, "Enough of this game. Take the note. Detain her at once." The human warrior did not move. She simply stood, the note still raised, her gaze unbroken. The guards hesitated. Their training screamed at them to obey, but something in the woman's eyes froze them in place. It was not arrogance nor fear. It was certainty. Aliens in the chamber muttered. Why do the guards not move? What power holds them back? One counselor leaned forward, whispering to another, "They say humans carry death-world resilience, that their very stare unsettles predators." Could it be true? The words spread like wildfire. The human warrior's silence became louder than any declaration. Every second of stillness grew heavier. Suddenly, the note trembled. Not from her hand, but from the vibrations echoing through the ship. Every console flickered. A low hum filled the air. Commander Vaylock snarled, turning toward the ceiling. "Report. What is causing this disturbance?" But the comms were silent. Only static answered then. A Zell officer stammered, "Commander, we are detecting signals outside the ship." The chamber erupted in confusion. Aliens shouted. Some stood, their tails, wings, and antennae twitching nervously. The human warrior finally spoke. Her voice was calm, steady, cutting through the chaos like a blade. "You asked what this note means," she said. "It means, we remember." The words rippled like thunder. The counselors froze. The guards stiffened. Even Commander Vaylock's smug expression faltered. "Remember? Remember what?" The galaxy had long believed humanity forgotten, broken, irrelevant. But her words carried Watan echo of history no alien wanted to face. "What? What do you mean?" Vaylock demanded, though his voice trembled. The human said nothing more. She lowered the note slightly. Just enough for the cameras to catch a glimpse of the writing. 3 words, in plain human script. "We remember. Fire." The words exploded across the broadcast. Within minutes, every world repeated them. "We remember fire." What does it mean? Is this a code? A threat? Older species, those who had lived through the ancient war, went pale. Their elders whispered the unthinkable, the humans. They remember the burning long ago, before many civilizations had even reached the stars. There had been rumors of a great war won, where primitive humans had fought with fire and fury unmatched. The galaxy had buried those tales, dismissing them as myths. Now, the words were back. The commander slammed his claw against the wall, cracking the metal. Lies, myths. Humans are nothing but scavengers. "Guards, take her now!" The guards stepped forward again, but their steps were slow, uneasy. The note seemed to burn in her hand. The human warrior finally unfolded it. The paper glowed faintly in the dim red lights. The camera zoomed in. Every alien eye widened, because the script was not only human, it also contained symbols enchanted, forbidden and terrifying. A counselor shrieked, "Those are the runes of the precursor war?" Another cried out, "Impossible!" Those were destroyed. The chamber dissolved into chaos. Some aliens shouted for her death. Others begged for restraint. Some simply trembled, whispering prayers. Commander Velok's face twisted between rage and fear. His arrogance cracked. For the first time, doubt clouded his eyes. "How?" he hissed. "How does a human carry this?" The human's expression remained calm. She spoke again, her voice steady, "Because we lived it." Before Velok could respond, the entire vessel rumbled violently. Sirens blared. The red lights flashed brighter. An officer shouted, "Commander, something is emerging from hyperspace." The chamber went silent. Everyone turned toward the viewing ports. At first, there was nothing but the void of space. Then shadows appeared, enormous, silent, and endless. The alien dignitaries gasped. Their hearts raced, because those were no ordinary ships. One by one, colossal human warships emerged from the darkness. Their hulls were scarred, ancient, but alive with power. Symbols glowed across them, Earth's emblems, reborn from ashes. For centuries, the galaxy had believed humanity's fleet destroyed, lost, forgotten. But now, they returned. The camera zoomed in on the human warrior as she finally lowered the note. Her eyes met the lens, unblinking, and she whispered words that silenced trillions. "This is only the beginning." The feed cut to static. The galaxy did not sleep. Every world, every station, every fleet replayed the shocking images from the Pride of Valor, a lone human soldier standing firm, a note glowing with strange symbols, and behind her, the impossible return of humanity's lost warships. Billions whispered the words again and again. "We remember fire." Some mocked it as a bluff. Others trembled, recalling old tales whispered in shadows. But none could look away. Humanity, once dismissed as weak, now stood at the center of galactic fear. The chamber shook as the colossal ships in orbit settled into silent formation. Their presence pressed on every alien's chest, like a weight Commander Velok's claws dug into the railing. His golden eyes flicking between the human warrior and the viewing screens. "This is a trick," he growled, though his voice cracked. "Holograms, illusions. Humans cannot build fleets like this." But deep inside, even he did not believe his own words. The human woman slowly unfolded the note fully. The paper stretched wide, covered not only in human letters, but in ancient runes. No one dared speak aloud. The camera zoomed closer. Billions leaned forward. Her voice rang out, calm and cold. "You told us to bow. You told us to forget. But humans never forget. We never bow." The note bore a sentence in both human English and alien symbols. "We carry the fire. We kept it for the day you forgot." Gasps filled the chamber. The counselors in their balconies staggered back, scales twitching, wings folding, tentacles curling in fear, because those runes were unmistakable. They were from the precursor warth, ancient warth that had nearly ended the galaxy. Every archive said the runes were destroyed. Every history text denied humanity's role, and yet here they were. In her hands, an Avarian elder croaked, his voice trembling. Those words, they belonged to the keepers. No one should know them. Another counselor shouted, "This cannot be. If humans hold the keepers' fire, then they are not survivors. They are inheritors." Panic rose like a storm. The alien crowd shouted in chaos, "Destroy the note. Kill the human." No, listen to her. The guards raised their weapons again, though their hands shook worse than before. The human warrior finally looked up from the note. Her gaze swept the entire chamber. "You believe us weak," she said. "You believe our fleets are gone? You laugh at Earth, but while you mocked us, we rebuilt. While you grew arrogant, we remembered. While you silenced history, we carried it in blood and fire. Every word echoed through the galaxy. The aliens. Proud rulers of the stars found themselves unable to speak. For the first time, they felt what humans had felt for centuries: powerlessness. The warships above shifted position. Their engines burned white-blue, casting eerie light across the planet's surface. Alien cities below looked up in horror as shadows of ships larger than mountains passed silently overhead. One Zell admiral muttered from his command seat, "If those are real, they outgun our entire sector fleet. No one dared test it." Commander Vaylock slammed his fist against the floor, sparks flying. His composure snapped. "This is nothing but human lies," he shouted, though his voice cracked with desperation. "This is theater. Guards, end this now." The guards advanced. The human warrior remained still. She did not lift a weapon. She did not run. She simply held the note higher, and then one of the guards stopped. His weapon lowered. His eyes, yellow and narrow, stared at the runes on the paper. "No," he whispered. "I know those words. My ancestors spoke of them. As warnings?" The second guard froze as well. Their grips faltered. The chamber went silent once more. Suddenly, the pride of Valor's communication console lit up. A signal flashed in sequence 3 bursts of light. Repeating, the human warships in orbit answered with the same pattern. Billions watching across the galaxy recognized it instantly. A code. It was not alien. It was not ancient. It was human, and the message was clear. We are here. The alien dignitaries erupted in panic. Some counselors shouted for retreat. Others demanded immediate war. The chamber became a storm of fear. The human woman did not shout over them. She simply stood calm, the note glowing in her hand, as though she had all the time in the universe. That silence crushed louder than the shouts. Finally, she raised her head and spoke once more. "You thought humans were finished? But this was only the silence before the fire. You mocked us for forgetting. But we remember everything." The note shimmered in her hand, its runes glowing brighter as if alive. The pride of Valor shook violently. Outside, one of the human warships powered its weapons, its cannons glowing brighter than suns. The alien commander's voice cracked as he shouted, "Shut it down. Shut it down before they fire." The camera feed zoomed in on the human's face. Calm, cold, certain. Her final words sent a chill across every world. "This is your last chance to listen." The feed cut. The galaxy trembled. Billions stared at their holoscreens, replaying the last frozen frame of the broadcast. The human warrior holding the glowing note. The ancient runes alive with fire. And above, human warships breaking the silence of space. No one could deny it now. The shadows in orbit were real. On the pride of Valor, chaos erupted. Alien dignitaries shouted over one another, their voices sharp and frantic. "Activate defenses. Signal reinforcements. Destroy the human fleet before it is too late." But the comms were dead. The consoles flickered and went dark. It was as though the ship itself refused to act against the humans. "Commander." Vaylock slammed his clawed fist against the control railing, sparks flying. "Find the source of this interference," he roared. His voice was fierce, but his eyes betrayed unease. The officers looked at one another, fear written across their scaled and feathered faces. "Commander," one whispered, "the signals are not jamming us. They are controlling us." Above the ship, the human fleet drifted in silence. Colossal warships. Their hulls, scarred from forgotten battles, spread out like titans of the void. Their engines glowed with cold blue fire, casting eerie shadows across the planet's surface. Alien civilians on the ground looked up in horror. Massive silhouettes eclipsed the stars. Whole cities fell silent, watching the sky darken beneath the warship's shadow. One Zell child clung to her mother's leg. "Are they going to destroy us?" she whispered. Her mother could not answer. Back in the chamber, the human woman stood unshaken. The note still glowed faintly in her hand. Commander Vaylock snarled, "What do you want, human?" Why have you brought these relics of metal here? Do you wish to start a war you cannot win? The human raised her eyes, calm and steady. We did not come to start a war, she said softly. We came because you forgot. Her words cut through the noise like a blade. Every alien in the chamber fell silent. Forgot what? What truth had the galaxy buried? The counselors in their high balconies whispered frantically. She carries the runes. She commands the fleet? Impossible. Humans were broken. But no one dared challenge her. Not now. Suddenly, the holocameras sparked back to life. The feed resumed once again, streaming across the galaxy. Every world, every ship, every station saw the chamber. They saw the commander's rage, the alien's fear, and the human warrior standing alone against them all, and then the cameras turned. Upward showing the orbiting fleet, the galaxy gasped as one. One of the human ships pulsed with light, its cannons glowing brighter. It fired, but not a weapon. Instead, a beam of light shot across space, forming an enormous projection above the planet. Words, written in both human script and ancient runes, blazed across the sky. We are the fire. We are the memory. We are humanity. The message echoed into the minds of billions. Even those who did not understand the language felt its meaning. Commander Valok roared in fury. Enough of this madness. Guards, kill her now. The guards hesitated, torn between duty and fear. Their weapons shook in their claws. The human warrior finally lowered the note. She looked straight at the commander, her voice calm but filled with iron. You think you hold power? She said. But power is not fear. Power is memory. And we remember what you wanted buried. The chamber erupted with whispers again. What history did they hide? Did the humans fight in the precursor war? Could they be? The last keepers. The possibility spread like wildfire. For if it were true, if humans had not only survived, but remembered, then the galaxy's greatest lie was unraveling. Outside, the warships began to shift formation. Their colossal bodies rotated slowly, lining themselves directly above the Pride of Valor. Alarms screamed across the alien ship. Officers panicked, rushing between consoles. Commander, their weapons are targeting us. The chamber fell silent. All eyes turned to the human. She raised the note one last time. The runes glowed so brightly, they lit her face in pale fire, and she whispered words that carried across the galaxy.
Ow.
This is not the end. This is the beginning. Humanity has returned. The warships above locked their cannons onto the alien flagship. Their lights grew brighter, brighter, until the entire sky burned with white-blue fire. Aliens screamed. Commander. Valok raised his claws in desperate rage, and the screen cut to black. Billions across the galaxy stared into silence. Had the humans fired? Had war begun? Or was this only the warning? The galaxy did not know. But one truth was clear. Humanity was no longer forgotten. The galaxy held its breath, in orbit above the alien world. The shadows of human warships hung like mountains in the void. Their hulls glowed faintly, ancient, yet alive with power. They made no sound, no move, no broadcast, just silence. But that silence was louder than any cannon. On alien homeworlds, fear gripped every city. Citizens crowded under the open sky, staring up at the colossal projections of the human fleet. On the council's home stations, voices quivered in disbelief. How could they build this in secret? Where did they hide such power? Why now? The galaxy, which once mocked humans as fragile, now whispered in terror on the Pride of Valor. Commander. Valok's golden eyes darted between the warships on the view screen and the human warrior standing below him. His voice was a snarl, but his tone betrayed unease. You bring ghosts and shadows to frighten us. But warships do not matter without the will to fire. The human warrior raised the note once more. The ancient runes glowed brighter, casting eerie light across the chamber walls. We do not need to fire, she said softly. The fleet itself is enough. Her words sank like stone into water, Across the galaxy, feeds zoomed in on the warships. On their vast decks stood human soldiers in full armor, silent and still, lined in perfect formation. Their visors gleamed under the cold light. They did not wave. They did not shout. They simply stood silent, guardians of a secret, long-buried alien soldiers watching. From their own bases felt their chests tighten. These humans were not broken. They were disciplined, waiting, watching in the high balconies. Counselors argued, their voices overlapping in panic. Launch every defense fleet. No, we must negotiate. Destroy the human before the others follow her lead. But beneath their shouting was fear. They could not even agree whether to attack or retreat because deep inside, they all knew if the humans fired, the galaxy would burn. The human warrior finally lowered the note and looked up. Her voice carried through every broadcast, steady and sharp. For centuries, you believed us gone. You told stories of our weakness. You erased our history. But while you forgot, we endured. While you mocked, we built. While you ruled, we remembered. She lifted the note high again. The cameras zoomed closer, capturing her unblinking eyes. This fleet is not for conquest. It is for memory. We show you what you tried to bury. The chamber fell silent. Even Commander Vaylock could not speak. One warship broke formation. Slowly, its engines ignited brighter, tilting its massive body toward a barren moon nearby. Every sensor locked onto it. Aliens across the galaxy watched in terror. Then, with one pulse, the warship fired. A single beam of blue-white fire cut through the void and struck the moon. The celestial body cracked like glass. With a deafening roar, it shattered into fragments, drifting in silence across space. Billions gasped. Entire worlds went still. It was not an attack. It was a demonstration. Commander Vaylock staggered back, his claws trembling. His arrogance shattered, replaced by raw fear. He shouted, though his voice wavered. You threaten the council with destruction? You dare to. The human warrior cut him off with just 4 words. This is your warning. The words echoed across the galaxy. In alien homes, silence replaced laughter. In council chambers, whispers replaced arrogance. On military ships, hesitation replaced confidence. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy realized humanity was not begging for survival. Humanity was demanding respect. The human fleet held its position silent once more. Their weapons dimmed. But their presence loomed heavy over the stars. The human warrior looked at the cameras, her expression unreadable, her voice calm. This is not war. Not yet. But if you continue to deny the truth, then the fire you fear will return. The broadcast ended abruptly. Billions sat in stunned silence. The question burned in every mind. Would the humans truly unleash the fire? And if they did, who could possibly stop them? The galaxy shook. The image of a moon shattered by a single human warship burned across every broadcast. The soundless explosion replayed endlessly, etched into the minds of billions. Entire civilizations now whispered the same words. This is your warning, for the first time in centuries. The Alien Council no longer laughed at humanity. They trembled in the great amphitheater of the Concordant Spire. The highest chamber of the galaxy's rulers, arguments raged. Towering Avarian winglords shouted, they threaten us all. Humanity must be destroyed before their fire spreads. The insectoid corps snapped their mandibles, clicking in panic. But how? You saw their fleet? Our sectors combined could not match it. The amphibian elders of the left side in despair. Perhaps. It is already too late. The chamber filled with hundreds of alien species descended into noise and fear. The once proud rulers of the galaxy looked more like frightened children. Commander Vaylock stood at the center, claws clenched, his voice thundering over the chaos. They are liars. This is all illusion, a trick to frighten us, he roared. His golden eyes burned with rage, but his hands shook as he slammed the podium. They bring ancient runes. They speak of forgotten wars lies. Humanity is a death world race, fragile and broken. They cannot rule us. But his words did not calm the council. They sounded more desperate than strong. One Alari scholar raised her thin, shimmering hand. Commander, what if the runes are real? What if humans truly carry the fire of the precursors? Silence followed. Every counselor shivered at the thought. The fire was no myth. It was the weapon that once ended empires. If humans held it, then no world was safe. The chamber's lights flickered. Suddenly, without invitation, the holoscreens across the spire lit up. The human warrior appeared once more. Her calm eyes stared into the council chamber, her note glowing faintly in her hand. You argue among yourselves, she said, her voice echoing through the galaxy. You debate if this is a trick. You wonder if humans truly remember. You want to believe we are bluffing, but your fear proves you already know the truth. The council froze. The human's voice grew sharper. You erased us from history. You've buried our battles. You told your children that humanity was weak, but we endured. We rebuilt. And now you see what silence has forged. Her hand lifted the note. The runes flared like fire. We carry the memory you tried to erase across the galaxy. The message echoed. On border worlds, alien soldiers stared at their weapons and wondered if they were useless. On merchant stations, trade ground to a halt as panic set in. On entire planets, people locked their doors, whispering prayers to gods they had forgotten. Fear spread faster than fire. The debate inside the chamber turned, frantic. We must negotiate with them, cried the amphibian elders. No, we must strike first, before their fleet multiplies, screeched the Avarian lords. Strike them, laughed a corps general bitterly. Did you not see the moon burn? We cannot even dent them. The council had never been so divided. Unity crumbled into suspicion. Allies turned on one another. Every word, every decision seemed poisoned by fear of humanity. Commander Velox slammed his claw down again. Enough. We cannot surrender to Death World vermin. If we kneel now, every world will fall under human chains. His eyes glared into the hala of the human warrior. You will not scare me. You will not scare us. The human did not flinch. You are already afraid, she answered, because you know deep down you are standing in the shadow of fire. An uproar erupted. Some shouted to kill the broadcast. Others shouted to listen, and then one voice rose above the chaos. A frail, ancient voice, an elder of the Velen, whose people claimed to be the galaxy's oldest race, stood tall. His eyes, clouded but sharp, fixed on the human. I was there, he whispered. I fought in the precursor war. I saw the humans then. The fire they carried was real. I feared it then, and I fear it now. The entire council went silent, because if the Velen elder confirmed it, then there was no denying the truth. The human warrior's voice came one last time. This is not conquest. This is not revenge. This is remembrance. You will hear us, or you will burn. Her image flickered and vanished in the silence that followed. The council shattered. Some demanded immediate surrender. Others demanded war. Allies accused one another of weakness. The unity of centuries cracked in a single night, and above them all, the human fleet still hung in silence. Waiting, the galaxy knew. The fire had returned, but no one knew whether it would burn their enemies or burn them all. The galaxy trembled under silence. The alien council, once the strongest voice in the stars, was broken. Leaders shouted. Others begged for calm, but no one listened. And above them, the human fleet still hung like mountains in the void vast, scarred, unyielding. Every eye, every world, every soldier waited for humanity's next move. Without warning, the galaxy's holifides lit up again. The human warrior appeared, her face calm, her eyes bright. The note glowing faintly in her hand. Her voice was quiet, but carried like thunder. You wonder what we are? You wonder what this fire means? So listen. The chamber hushed. Across the galaxy, billions leaned forward. The human unfolded the note again. The runes blazed with fierce light, burning across her face. "These words are not threat," she said. "They are not conquest. They are memory." She looked into the cameras. "You buried the truth of the precursor war, but humanity lived it. We carry the fire of those who came before. We swore an oath. If the galaxy forgets, we will remind them. If the galaxy repeats its sins, we will finish what they started." Her voice sharpened. "We did not start the fire, but if you force us, we will end it." Billions gasped. The phrase spread like a storm. "We did not start the fire, but we will end it." On alien homeworlds, people cried out in fear. Some dropped to their knees in prayer. Others stared at the sky, wondering if flames would descend that very night. Even the strongest warlords felt their hearts weaken. Above the planet, the silent warships stirred. One by one, their engines roared alive, their cannons glowing brighter. The vast fleet shifted into precise formation lines of fire across the void. It was no random movement. It was ritual, discipline, a demonstration of power no alien fleet had ever shown. Alien admirals watching from their own ships whispered in dread, "This is not a fleet. This is a blade." Inside the concordant spire, the council dissolved into chaos. Negotiate. Offer them peace. No. Strike first before they burn us. Fools. We cannot even scratch them. Allies shouted at allies. Old enemies pointed claws at one another. The unity of centuries was crumbling before the galaxy's eyes. Commander Velox stood at the center, his scales trembling, yet his pride unbroken. "Do not listen," he roared. "This is not power, it is fear. They want us divided. They want us to bow." He turned toward the hala of the human. "You call this fire? Then strike. Prove your words, or admit you are nothing but smoke." His words echoed, bold yet desperate. The human warrior did not blink. Her voice was like ice. "You want proof?" In orbit, one warship detached from the formation. Its colossal guns rotated, not toward a city, not toward the council chamber, but toward the void itself. Its cannons blazed white-blue, brighter than suns. A single beam lanced into empty space. The beam tore the void apart. Nebula clouds shattered. Asteroids cracked and drifted in flames. A scar stretched across the stars themselves, glowing red for all to see. It was not an attack. It was a signature. A scar of fire written across the heavens. Billions stared at the sky and whispered the same word. Fire. The human warrior lifted the note higher, the runes glowing like molten steel. "Do not mistake our silence for weakness. Do not mistake our mercy for surrender. This fleet is not conquest. It is memory. The fire is not ours alone. It belongs to every world you tried to silence." She stepped closer to the camera. Her eyes unblinking. "Humanity offers you a choice. Remember with us, or burn against us." The broadcast ended. For a long moment, the galaxy froze. No sound, no movement, only silence. Then the whispers began. On alien worlds, civilians begged their leaders to surrender. On military fleets, soldiers asked their commanders if they would truly fight humanity. Inside the council, unity shattered completely. Some cried for negotiations. Others screamed for war. The galaxy no longer stood as one, above them all. The human fleet glowed brighter, their cannons humming. Engines alive, the galaxy now knew the truth. Humanity carried the fire, and as the shadows of the warships spread across the stars, one question burned in every heart: would humanity's fire save them, or destroy them? The galaxy stood on the edge of a blade. The words of the human warrior echoed across every star, every screen, every world. Remember with us, or burn against us. And above, the human fleet glowed like suns, weapons charged, waiting for one decision. Inside the concordant spire, panic consumed the chamber. Avarian lords flapped their wings in rage. We must strike. Humanity cannot be allowed to dictate terms. The insectoid corps snapped their mandibles in fear. Strike? Did you not see the stars themselves burn? We would die before our weapons left their bays. The amphibian Leth croaked in despair. Perhaps surrender is the only path. The chamber that once decided the fate of galaxies could no longer even decide its own commander. Valok stood tall in the center, claws trembling, golden eyes blazing with fury. No, I will not kneel to vermin from a death world, he roared. They are a disease, a plague that must be cut out. If you all cower, then I will fight alone. He turned toward the hala of the human warrior, his voice shaking but loud. You claim to carry fire? Then strike me now. Burn me, and prove your strength. The human warrior raised the note once more. The runes glowed, brighter than ever, casting her face in pale fire. She spoke, calm and unyielding. Strength is not in destruction. It is in memory. And you, Commander, have already burned yourself. Her words cut deeper than any blade, in orbit. The human fleet shifted again. Their cannons hummed, aligned directly on the Pride of Valor Valok's ship. Aliens screamed. Officers panicked. Every world watching held its breath. Would the humans fire? The glow built, brighter and brighter, until the void itself seemed to bend. Valok stood defiant, roaring into the light. Do it! Strike me! Show them all your fire! But the humans did not fire. The glow dimmed. The cannons powered down. Gasps filled the chamber. Across the galaxy, billions stared in disbelief. The human warrior lowered the note and spoke once more. We do not need to burn you. Your fear already has. Your council is broken. Your unity is gone. You have destroyed yourselves. Her eyes were cold, sharp as steel. Humanity does not fight for conquest. We fight so that the galaxy remembers. Remember the fire, remember the cost, and never again forget. Outside, the warships began to turn. One by one, their engines flared. Pulling them back into hyperspace, the galaxy watched in stunned silence as the silent fleet vanished, leaving only empty stars behind. The shadows were gone. But the fear remained. In the council chamber, silence weighed heavier than chains. No one spoke. No one moved. Because they all knew the truth. Humanity had not needed to fire a single shot. With a note, with memory, with silence, they had shattered the galaxy's greatest council. Before the hala vanished, the human warrior gave her final message. Remember this day, not as the day humanity returned to conquer, but the day humanity reminded you, we are not weak. We are not forgotten. We are the fire you buried, and we will burn only if you force us. Her image flickered. She was gone. Across the stars, everything changed. Civilians whispered of human gods. Soldiers questioned their orders. Worlds that once mocked humanity now feared even their silence. The galaxy's balance had shifted, and it could never return deep in the darkness of uncharted space. Far beyond the galaxy's edge, an old voice stirred. It was not alien. It was not human. It was something older. Something forgotten. Something that had once feared humanity itself. It whispered through the void, if humanity carries the fire, then who will stop the flame? The screen cut to black. The saga had only begun.